So just about 20 minutes ago, you posted your all-22 breakdown, or at least it was the first time I've seen it, so I apologize. I haven't not watched this week yet. But you said, what else does Justin Fields need to do? He's playing at an extremely high level, and yes, he owns the Lions. Justin Fields is looking better than ever. Can you give us some specifics?
Yeah, I mean, I just, so I'm sure you saw the tweet I did put out yesterday, because I was working on the all-22 and I wanted to make it a little bit more in depth. So it's 25 minutes long. It's one of the longest ones I've done, and I tried to like dive a little bit deeper into not just the throws that he's making, but how he is, for a lack of better term, quarterbacking, right? And none other, like the play of the game, right? It was tied 13-13, was obviously that throw and the touchdown to DJ Moore.
Yep.
Like the throw was pretty, like perfect footwork, like held the safety, looked the safety, like all that stuff. That's great. But what I just loved about that play was there was no way in heck they were going to go for it on 4th and 13 at that point. What they would have done if the Lions, and specifically Aiden Hutchinson, didn't jump off sides, they would have taken a delay game and punted, and who knows how the game would have ended. Justin, though, and it's really cool because I rewound it a few times. He went through his cadence 3 separate times. And on the first time, it was sort of just like, hey, Blue 80, Blue 80 Hut. And then the second time, a little bit stronger. And then the third time, there was a huge pause before it. And if you look at all 5 offensive linemen, Justin and the running back, they're all making a huge deal like, okay, hey, we're going. Mike, the will linebacker, they're all pointing. The left guard and the left tackle are talking. The right guard, the right tackle are talking. And then he goes through his cadence, the best he's got. Sure enough, Aiden Hutchinson jumps, and they have this play called 4 verticals, all goes special, that they run. And the dude, like DJ Moore, inside release go, like there were a couple plays like that, none better than that, but just like his overall feel on like just as something as small as cadence, and for him to make that play at that point in the game when the game was tied, like you could tell too, like they were acting, like the offensive line was acting, like they loved it, like Getty had it dialed up, and the fact that it went for a touchdown on 4th and 13 makes it even better.
So, I mean, that's great stuff, and it's obviously a huge step forward for him to be able to do that. Were there other plays where you saw the quarterbacking? Tell us about any other plays where you're like, yep, there it is. He is moving forward or evolving or showing you more.
Yeah, well, I would say there's just a few times in the game that I saw that, maybe they didn't have the right play call on, and quite honestly, you can't always call the right play for the right coverage, right? The Lions were doing some different things. And one specifically was they were backed up in their maybe inside the 5. And I don't know how he got away from this pass rush.
That play was
ridiculous. And like I'm watching it. Yeah. And I'm watching it on the all-22. I'm like, oh, he's sacked. Like it was a deeper developing play. So there's really no underneath routes, which I didn't love about the play call in general. But just having a guy like Justin that can fix it. And there's just, I don't know if there's more than 4 to 5 guys in the world that can make that kind of play when stuff around you breaks down, and for able to not only get out of the sack, to get out of a safety, to save points, to not take a sack, but then for it to have a 30-yard run to give you some breathing room. Like, I don't even know if they scored on that drive, but just like those plays in general to me. And then the third one, like it got called back, unfortunately, but he scrambled out to his left. He throws all the way across his body to Cole Kmet. I was watching that live when he did that. I go, oh no, like stop doing that. But he ended up doing it. But just like stuff like that throughout the game. I mean, they scored 28 points against a decent Lions team. I mean, you got to love the way it's trending right now.
Chase, so we talked to Kurt Warner, and he talked about how he sees Fields as like he maybe a little bit. He's not as fast as you would want in terms of the anticipation on the throws, the anticipatory throws. Excuse me. Maybe a little long on the windup, but that he's got this unbelievable arm strength and velocity that it can kind of make up for some of it. And I'm thinking about that play to Mooney.
Darnell Mooney play. Yeah, 100%.
On the right sideline, where it's like just past the defensive end who's jumping at the ball and the corner leaps in front of him. watch that play on slow motion replay, and I really don't even know how it got there. And I guess the question is, and it sounds a little bit like a hater to ask it this way, but is that luck or skill that ball was completed and it ended up like it did?
That doesn't sound like a hater at all. Half the things that happen in the league are luck, man. Like, truly, maybe not half.
I'm like, genuinely curious because, like, maybe I obviously could never do anything that happened on that play, but I watched it. I'm like, I don't think that he planned for that to go that way, and it just happened to.
Look, you train for every scenario, and you got to have a little luck on your side, because I thought the same thing. Like,
okay,
and that was one of the main things that from the I think I did 11 plays, and 2 were like, hey, bad, quote unquote. And that was one of my bad plays for him, even though it turned into because he was late. He was late.
Okay.
Like, he was late on the ball. So, like, I'm trying to be a little bit more, people like say I'm a Justin apologist, but literally I just like the way he plays. And I got to break it down. I don't want to give just good plays. And there was only 2 or 3 bad plays, but when your bad plays aren't fumbles and interceptions and they're 30-yard completions, like, you can live with that. Like, you can live with that. And on that play, he was just late. Like, it was a hitch route, and he took the one-on-one to Mooney. Mooney was open, and the footwork was a little bit off. But I mean, look, he's not going to be perfect on every drop. No quarterback is, but he has that arm strength, like Kurt said, to get it there. And what I love, the only thing I really didn't like on that play was that he was late. The other thing that I really loved, though, was the ball location on that throw. Like he knows, like, I'm late. Maybe he didn't know he's late, but watching, he's late, thinking, hey, I can't leave this ball inside. If anything, I need to put it more outside than I normally would have tried to do. And all those things go through your head when you know, hey, you're a little bit late, and you see this guy driving on a hitch throw. So I love the location of the ball. I love the arm strength. And honestly, like, Mooney played it up to get that personal foul at the end too. And you could just see the guys on the field going over to him, dapping him up, like protecting him. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, Justin played like another good game, and the Bears are winning. Like, what else do you want? Like, you guys are winning. You guys are game out.
On that play, he looked like the high school shortstop he once was, who's like got a ball deep in the hole and is like, oh, I got to put a little extra on this one. And he wound up and gave it. Chase Daniel, help me understand this. I talk a lot about how long it seems to take Justin to get rid of the ball, and a lot of people do. And I find it frustrating as I'm watching. And then I go to next gen stats, and I'm looking at time to throw, because this was an issue for Justin in college. And some people, your podcast partner Robert Mays says that this issue follows quarterbacks from system to system, time to throw. So Justin Fields is dead last in the NFL in time to throw, according to next gen stats. But you know who's second to last? Is CJ Stroud, who's having an unbelievably great, historically great rookie season. So, and Pat Mahomes is like 9th or 10th. Like, there's some good quarterbacks up there. Jalen Hurts is obviously up there. So how do you look at that number? How can we be smartest looking at that particular metric?
Yeah, I mean, for CJ, when I'm looking at that number, he's second to last. You said, like, I watch CJ, and I see a very quick processor in terms of, here it is, I see it, I let it go, right? Like, and so that they're holding the ball a lot longer because they're taking deep shots down the field, almost like every single play. It is astronomical. So I think that's probably why they're really heavy under center play action. And with Justin, like I got to give the offensive line props, because the games that I've watched overall, when I've watched all of them, like, they've given him a decent amount of time to throw the football. Like, you want to talk about early in the year, that number, he took so many, and I don't know the exact number, I had it maybe a month ago, but those amount of 4+ seconds holding the ball sacks. Well, if you can have even 3 seconds to throw the football, like, that's an eternity. So I don't necessarily think that number correlates to maybe like a negative thing. If I'm trying to answer your question in a way, but but at the same time, like, he is a little bit slower processor. And so he does hold on to the football a little bit more. I think he needs to see it open a little bit more. And I think that correlation between seeing it open a little bit more from where it is now to where it was at the beginning of the year. It is shrunk. Like he's throwing guys open now, and not at the rate that you'd want your quarterback to do it, but he's getting better and he's making progress on that. However, at the end of the day, like he is processing it faster than he was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And that's it does feel like we're seeing some processing. Question, this came up a little while ago on the air. He processes a little slower, a little more of a see it, throw it guy, as you said. He hasn't been intercepted much. Like if that's the way you see it, like you wait till you see it and throw it, and you're not anticipating as much, is it natural that you might throw some fewer interceptions because you're not taking chances in the smaller windows?
Yeah, I think so. He like throwing the football, like he does have like an issue with fumbles. Like, yeah, I got it. I know the fumbles numbers. Good, cool. But he really doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. Like he doesn't put the ball in harm's way throwing the football. And that is hard to teach because he's able to see like he's able to weigh risk versus reward, and he's done it because of the experience. Like, oh, that's going to be a little bit risky throw, but I'm going to make it anyway, intercept it. He's not like that. Like, hey, if it's not there and it's just a little too risky, like I'll just take off and run. And so I think that's where he's unlocked his legs the past couple of weeks, and that in terms of like progression from like throwing to running. But yeah, I mean, he definitely needs to see it open. But at the same time, like you want to talk about that team up north from you guys, like Aaron Rodgers, like he was probably the quickest to throw that I'd seen in a long time. But when he held on to the ball, he took an astronomical amount of sacks, like insane amount of sacks. But his interception numbers were low. So in his mind, like he's thinking, hey, I'd rather take a sack than throw a pick and put the ball in harm's way. Like I'm seeing sort of Justin feel like, hey, I'd rather just take a sack than force some ball in a window that I don't see open or I don't trust that's open.
What would you expect? Because it's been valuable when we've remembered to ask you this, just to help us set a barometer for the next week. What would you expect Justin Fields and the Bears offense to be able to produce and look like against the Browns this week?
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, like it's going to be a tough task because the Browns are really weird. And we did this study at NFL Network where I'm working on Fridays, and I had them look it up. And the Browns defense at home is like all-star Pro Bowl level, aren't allowing a lot of points. And on the road, it's like the worst defense in the NFL. So it's a story of home and away for the Browns, and especially that defense. And they're playing at home, right? They're going to Cleveland. And so I would love to see like somehow, some way, control the clock, get to 40 carries between Justin and some running backs. Don't ask Justin to throw the ball a lot because they're so good up front. Like you got to start your game plan off with like protection rules. How are we going to protect Justin? How are we going to, like, you might need a trick play, you might need a score on special teams, but at the same time, like the defense has been playing a lot better as of late. They've got a little momentum. And so usually what I've seen in past, like with teams that have really good defenses, is that running quarterbacks can hurt them. And I would not be surprised if Justin doesn't run for over 100 yards if they end up winning this game.
You know, the first time that Justin ever played in Cleveland was with Matt Nagy. It was his first start. And we believe that it is maybe the single worst game plan in the history of offensive football. They left Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney singled on the edge. No chip help, no max protect.
Got sacked 9 times.
This is a make do. Different coaching staff, but I mean, the way you're talking about it, they should have an extra tight end and an extra blocker on both edges. A lot. It sounds like you're saying.
I agree. I mean, because that's the fastest way you can wreck a game is sacks, turnovers, fumbles, all that stuff. So that's the biggest thing for me, like going into a week that your game planning is hey, you got to protect the edges. You got to put your quarterback, Justin Fields, in a position to succeed.
The play before the 4th and 13, should that have been intentional grounding on Fields?
Yeah, that was That was an interesting play. And honestly, like I just skimmed through it. I saw it and I saw social media. Like, I mean, he was inside the pocket, right? Like to me,
they said that
they said
that the hit impacted the throw.
But that doesn't make any sense to me, because if the ball doesn't get past the line of scrimmage, if you're inside the pocket,
it hit his lineman. Grounding. It hit his
yeah.
lineman.
I mean, honestly, probably it should have been.
I mean, good for him. He threw it away.
Well, I was just thinking
like,
that was a break that the Bears got, because Jaquan Brisker came out this week and defended, and he was like, we gotta protect our quarterback. And he kind of called out the league, called out the refs for Fields taking hits after he slides. And I've been asking for Eberflus to do it for a while. I loved what Brisker said, but have you noticed when you watch Fields taking late hits on runs?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 times he slid. He got hit as he was coming up. I broke one of the runs. Maybe it was the first or
first play of the game.
First play of the game.
First play of the game. Yeah, he got hit. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? And he took a shot later in the game, but I don't think it's malicious. I think that, honestly, if anything, like the way the rules in the NFL is coming down on these guys with fines for late hits, like, you don't want to be hitting quarterbacks late, because it's the most protected person in all of football.
Last thing for me, Chase. How would it play if this scenario took place? That Justin Fields is kept for a 4th year, but without picking up the option, a la Daniel Jones, and they use the number 1 pick also on Caleb Williams or Drake May, and they said this rookie quarterback is going to sit all year long. This is Justin's year. We believe, like Pat Mahomes, like Jordan Love, whatever, that it takes time. We're just going to let him incubate. How would that play in the locker room if they were open and honest about it with both young quarterbacks?
I think at the end of the day, if you're open and honest with players, especially in that locker room, then they're going to be able to trust you until things go wrong. Right? Like, until things go south. And then if you don't make a change at quarterback, like that would be bad. But I've always been a part of locker rooms that, hey, like, it's been open conversation, like, just tell you how it is. And this is the way we're going forward. But I don't know that scenario, man. I don't know. I just don't know if you are taking a quarterback at 1, like, he's going to play. Like, I just don't think he's going to sit if you're taking a quarterback all the way at 1.